Now, Yemen's government says dozens of people have been killed in U.S. drone attacks in the country over the last few weeks, many of them civilians. Washington recently resumed its unofficial military campaign against Al-Qaeda terrorists there, fearing they may exploit the current unrest in Yemen to seize power. The CIA is also reportedly building a secret air base in the Persian Gulf to target militants. And as RT's Gayane Chichakyan says, introducing CIA spooks will move the operation into the legal shadows.
The decision to task the CIA with chasing down Al-Qaeda in Yemen marks a major escalation of America's covert war in Yemen, which is not really covert. It's one of the undeclared wars that the U.S. is waging against terror. But up to this day in Yemen, it's been the U.S. military that was running the show, that was carrying out the drone strikes, sort of in cooperation with the Yemeni counterterrorism units. But now, amid the power vacuum and all the political turmoil in Yemen, the cooperation is falling apart. And according to U.S. officials, because the CIA operates under different legal authorities than the military, the CIA will have, quote, greater latitude to carry out strikes no matter what the political climate there. Greater latitude. In other words, they don't have to ask anybody's permission to bomb the country. The Yemeni leader, who is now out of the country after months of violent popular revolt against him and his government, for many years had been supported by the U.S. in exchange for letting Americans go after Al-Qaeda in Yemen, as WikiLeaks cables showed, often taking credit for the U.S. drone strikes. We have to remember that scores of civilians were killed in those strikes, so the support of the Yemeni authorities was much needed for the U.S. to carry on with the operations. On the other hand, the government of Ali Abdullah Saleh, who'd been in power for some 30 years, was so unpopular in recent years among the people of Yemen that many analysts say it was only due to the U.S. support that Saleh had stayed in power for so long. So for years, Saleh needed the U.S. and the U.S. needed Saleh. But now, with the political turmoil there, the U.S. shows they will continue to bomb Yemen whether or not they have the permission to do so from actually the people of the country. Pakistan is one example of popular revolt against the CIA drone strikes. Thousands of civilians were killed by the U.S. drone attacks, and no one was held responsible for that. Even though the Pakistani parliament has demanded to stop the strikes, the country's leadership continues to allow the Americans to carry out the operations, although the Pakistani leadership criticizes the killing of civilians, but they do little to stop it. Many analysts say their support for the bombings will continue as long as they continue to receive billions of dollars from Washington. People there are furious. In 1 year, the U.S. drones killed 700 civilians in Pakistan, but they netted only 5 actual militant leaders. Numbers that some experts are giving are gruesome. The former chief counterinsurgency strategist for the U.S. State Department has estimated that drone attacks kill 50 non-targeted persons for each intended target. Nonetheless, we now see the rapid expansion of the CIA drone war.